Hey, everybody, what's going on? King of Misfits here. Um, just wanted to, reiterate something that I've talked about like countless times on this channel. It's really coming, not because I called it, but because it was already written and the plans were already laid. Okay. And anybody can say that it's not true or it's a forgery or whatever. Um, but the fact is that it's happening and you can't deny it. Um, First off, let's start with this. Um, Rudyard Kipling, The Wrath of the Awakened Saxon. Let's just start off with this reading, okay? It was not part of their blood. It came to them very late, with long arrears to make good when the Saxon began to hate. They were not easily moved. They were icy, willing to wait till every count should be proved ere the Saxon began to hate. Their voices were even and low. Their eyes were level and straight. There was neither sign nor show when the Saxon began to hate. It was not preached to the crowd. It was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the Saxon began to hate. It was not suddenly bred. It will not swiftly abate through the chilled years ahead when time shall count from the date that the Saxon began to hate. Beautiful poem. Beautiful poem. White dormancy in a nutshell. White rage in a nutshell. Right? You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time, but sooner or later, God will cut you down. And God uses men to cut men down, right? God doesn't just intervene himself and do it, but he oftentimes uses men to do his will. Remember that. And he can use wicked men to perform his will. And they will perform it. In order to awaken, to stir something in his people, that they might come to their senses and go back to their foundations. And when that happens, they might drive their enemies from their lands. And not just drive their enemies from their lands, but push onward into enemy territory and take and conquer and colonize. Oh, yes. History has a way of repeating itself, doesn't it? Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, the Illuminati plan for 3 world wars, August 15th, 1871. The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. The Pike letter to Giuseppe Mazzini was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977. This letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter exists. Okay? But now it was there until 1977. Okay? So even if it was forged in sometime before 1977, after, say, World War II, the foreshadowing is uncanny. Let's look. Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary leader of the mid-1800s, as well as the director of the Illuminati, alias Ambrose. Albert Pike, historical Masonic figure, was a 33rd degree Freemason, occultist, Grand Master, and creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. Following are apparently extracts from the letter showing how the 3 world wars had been planned for many generations. The First World War, listen up, must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. Granted, right? The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. Let's cause some brother wars. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Well, what religion is that? That religion is Christianity. What governments is it weakening? The governments of Europe, right? The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought, and let me just say this too, if this was written in the 1800s, say, well, these words didn't exist. Well, these words were created by tacticians of the world order revolutionaries. So, yeah, they make up words. Okay? They make up isms for the sole purpose of fulfilling their plan, right? You know, like buzzwords that are used today. The war must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Enter our modern era. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Do you understand that? See that going on today? I'll have to do this. I can't do this very long right now, but we're just going to lay the groundwork here. Okay? Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on the issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. Sounds like what's happening now. We will unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. My post reflected this the other day, my last video that I did there, that quick little live stream that I did. That's what that was about. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, right? Because what has Christianity been doing? Not standing on its principles, that's for sure, not on an institutional level. And I'm a Christian, okay? And I'll never not be a Christian. But I know who's leading the institutions, okay? Like that's not anything new that I don't already understand. And that a lot of people already understand. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are being led like lambs to the slaughter. Whose deistic spirits, right? Because there is a desire and a will for God. But if it's not the God of Christianity, what is that deistic spirit going to lead you to? Will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. The manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. That's their plan. If Christians do not stand up and reclaim their churches, then Christianity as we know it will be destroyed. Atheism along with it, because atheism is just sitting there and allowing all this stuff to happen. Moral relativism is allowing all these nihilists, all these destroyers of civilization to enter in, right? The whole idea of atheism is the destruction of oneself by denying God himself, denying all truth. Both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Are we going to allow that to happen, my brothers and sisters in Christ? Are we going to allow the atheists, are we going to allow our brothers to fall into paganism, the old rudiments, the beggarly elements? Are we going to allow them to fall back into something that we've gotten away from a long time ago, that our ancestors left long, long ago? Are we going to go back to that? It seems like that's kind of the plan, isn't it? That's why there's this argument. Can you be a Christian and be a nationalist? Can you be a Christian and be a white nationalist? A lot of them will say no. Is that what is going to happen? Because everything else in this letter is happening. And you can see this fomentation and this divide between the people. Brothers and sisters in Christ, you need to wake up and know what time it is and realize what the plan is for you. Because this general reactionary movement where we destroy and exterminate the destroyers of civilization, what part of Revelation does that sound like? That's the first 4 seals. That's the horsemen being released. That's war. That is war, famine, and destruction. The likes that no one has ever seen before. The likes of which Christians in the West have been told that you're going to escape from, because the rapture is going to happen any day. Do you see? Because who's teaching the rapture? Who taught the rapture to Christians in the West? Zionists, Masons, right? That's who infiltrated the churches. That's who brought all this doctrine, the Schofield Bible, dispensationalism, the rapture theory, Israel, the modern state of Israel is God's chosen people, and we're just here to support them. The same people who are behind this letter are behind the destruction of Christianity, because deep down, they are part of the synagogue of Satan. They're Shabbos Goy, if you will. Political Zionism is taking the hit too. Everybody's going to take the hit. Islam, political Zionism, Christianity are all in the crosshairs. And yeah, bye-bye political Zionism, bye-bye Islam, but Christianity, no, I'm not willing to part with that. And I'm not willing that a bunch of my brothers and sisters convert to paganism either. Like, that's not the way. They're pointing you in that direction. They want you to go in that direction rather than lean on the foundation of what all of our countries are built on. As far as our country in Canada, the US, and the European Commonwealth goes, Christianity is our foundation. Christ is our foundation. That is what built our civilizations. The Greeks turned to Christianity. The Romans turned to Christianity. All of the Vikings turned to Christianity. All of our pagan ancestors turned to Christianity. Are they a bunch of Christ cucks? Were they Christ cucks when they converted? Oh, they did it out of necessity. Really? Well, they never converted back, did they? Wake up. Anyways, I've got to stew some rhubarb. Yeah. Go stew some rhubarb. So I might be back later. King of Misfits out.